What's the word, YouTubers? Ciara Celeste back at again with another video. Yes, and we're back with another video. Boom. So you already know what to do. Before we get into this video, follow me on Instagram, Ciara Celeste. Follow me on Twitter, Ciara Celeste. Two, baby, you already know the vibes. Period. You already know the vibes. All right, so boom. This is gonna be a video about how I survived living in New York as a black girl. Not even just a black girl, like a young and turned black hottie. Like that shit was hard, but we gonna get into it. So boom. If you don't know, I lived in New York. I lived in Brooklyn for about 3 years, and I will definitely say I was living. I was living, y'all. That was an experience. I would definitely say I was broke. I was poor. I went through a lot of obstacles, but I lived. That's one thing I don't regret. Never in my life would I ever regret moving to New York because it taught me so much. Like it literally taught me so much. I learned so much. But boom, I'm about to tell you the tea. I'm about to tell you the tea what the YouTubers like what they don't tell you because I'm about to really get into it. So boom, when I first even had the idea, let's talk about the thought of moving to New York. So I'm about to go outside. I'm gonna let y'all see how it look out here. But yeah, it's a nice little town. I'm about to get I need some groceries. Because if y'all don't know, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, 816 to town, period. My family is originally from the East Coast. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, my mom, she born and raised in Jersey. My dad is born and raised in New York. But my dad, he is born and raised in Niagara Falls, New York, which is like way not even nowhere near New York City, like hours. Like I'm talking like hours outside of New York City. So it's nowhere near New York City. And my mom, she was raised in like Bayonne, New Jersey, which is like close to like, Jersey City type vibes or whatever. When I first had the idea to even move to New York, I was still in undergrad. So I went to undergrad in St. Louis, Missouri. And for the summer, I had seen this job posting and it was like to be a camp counselor. You could do a camp counselor or you could be like a secretary at this girls camp. It was in New York, but it was in Brant Lake, New York, which is like hours outside of the city, nowhere like 5-6 hours outside of the city, nowhere near the city. So I'm like, shit, like they was gonna pay for the housing, they'll pay you for they'll pay for your food, they'll pay for your travel to even get there. All you literally have to do is work for them. Shit, I was down. So I flew out there to Bryn Lake. I flew out there to New York and then we drove to Bryn Lake, New York. While I was working there, I was like a secretary at the girls' camp. And one night I was just sleeping, y'all, and I had a dream. And I'm really big on dreams. Like I believe things really be coming to you in your dreams. So I'm having a dream or whatever. And it's basically like, mind you, I had never been to New York at this point. The only time I had ever been to New York is when I was younger and when I was living in Jersey and we used to go to church in Brooklyn. But mind you, I would be on that van and I would be knocked. Like we'd be on that van for like an hour in the morning. I'll be knocked and I was a kid. So I didn't really know what New York was like for real. So when I had this dream, it was so strange to me because I was just like sleeping and all of a sudden like in my dream I'm like walking in Times Square and I'm like so just like amazed. Like I'm so amazed by all the lights. And mind you, I've never been to Times Square. I don't even know what Times Square looked like. But in my dream, I was in Times Square. So I woke up the next morning and was like, I'm moving to New York. That's all it was. That's all it was. All it took was that dream. So boom, that's how I had the plan. Now I have to put it in motion. So how am I going to move to New York, right? So I'm figuring like, okay, I'm about to graduate in a year. I'll just go get my master's because at first for a long time I didn't want to get my master's because I like school but I don't like homework. Like that's the thing. Like I like the experience of school. I like going to class and being around my friends in the social environment, but I do not like doing work at home. Once I'm in school I want to do the work, but once I'm home I don't want to do no work. I don't want to do no work. So but I had a friend. Okay, so my friend, we'll give him another name because yeah, we'll just give him another name. So my friend, his name, so we'll call him St. Louis because that's where I met him, in St. Louis. So my friend St. Louis, he had I met him in school, and he graduated, and then he went and got his master's in New York. So once I had that dream, I automatically contacted him, and I asked him like, "How did you do that?" And I started just talking to him about it or whatever. So St. Louis is telling me that he found the school. So the school I graduated from was called the New School. It's also called Parsons as well. The Parsons part is like the fashion design part. If you're like going to school for fashion design, which like a lot of people there, they went for like the artsy part, but I went for the actual, like, not like to the actual school part, but like the other part, like the regular subjects basically. And so that part is called the New School. So he went to the New School, and he told me like all the opportunities that he got from going to the New School. Like he told me after he graduated, he had got opportunity to work at BT or to work at Atlantic Records, but he told me that Atlantic Records was trying to give him an unpaid internship, and he doesn't believe in doing unpaid internships because he feels like you shouldn't work for free, which is reasonable. So he ended up working with BET. And so I was just like so amazed because I'm over here coming from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm in school in St. Louis, and like I'm studying journalism, and like I knew that I didn't want to just work at a small like news station and just like be on air and do broadcast journalism in that way. Like I wanted to be more. I wanted to do social media. I wanted to do marketing. Like I wanted to be doing red carpet interviews. Like I wanted to be that girl. I wanted to be Nina Parker on like Love and Hip Hop, the Love and Hip Hop reunions. Like I wanted to be a socialite. So I like shit. Like tell me what to do. Tell me what to do to get up there. So boom. He's giving me the tea. So I'm like, all right. So I started looking into the New School. So I started looking into the New School. I started looking into Georgetown too, because I knew I was going to get my master's somewhere. Like I knew I was going to go somewhere on the East Coast. So boom, I go to so I start applying, like looking into the schools and stuff. And then that's when I start seeing like this gonna be some money. This is gonna be some money. I didn't know how I was gonna get this money. I'm a broke college student. I didn't know how I was gonna get this money. But one thing about me, when I have a plan, when I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it, baby. I'm gonna do it. Like I don't care what nobody says, I'm gonna do it. And when I told people I was going to New York, yeah, when I tell you motherfuckers was doubting me, they was, oh my gosh, it was so many people doubting me. Like they were just like, oh my gosh, New York's so dangerous. Da, da, da. I live in Kansas City, the hood. Like, what do you mean New York is dangerous? Like, we're already in danger. Like, so boom, I start getting the plan together. Like when I tell you I go back to school after the summer, I go back to school. I start working my ass off, y'all. I'm working at Chick-fil-A at the time, y'all. And I'm working my ass off. I'm saving every penny, y'all. I was only making like $400 every 2 weeks because this was like back in like 2019, 2018. Like I wasn't making no money. So I'm saving, saving, saving. By the time the end of the school year happened, I ended up selling my car. And then there's so many expenses with grad school. Like, first of all, once you get, so I had to, fill out the application. Then I had to do an essay and I had to do all types of stuff, right? At first, my bad. At first, I didn't think I was going to get accepted. I'm not going to hold you. I didn't think I was going to get accepted because, like, that school, the New School is a good school. The New School is a nice school. I'm not saying I'm dumb. Like, I'm really smart. But, like, I just doubted myself, too, because everybody else was doubting me. So, I started doubting myself. So, boom, I applied to the school, y'all. I get in. They even waived the application fee for me. Boom, I'm in there. I'm praise dancing in my room. I'm shouting. I'm like, what? So now it's already secure that I'm going to New York. I just have to figure out how I'm gonna get there. Because yes, they accepted me, but they didn't give me nothing else. No, I didn't get no scholarship money. And I did apply for scholarships, but I just didn't get them. I didn't get no scholarship money. The New School, to live on campus is ridiculous. It was like 30K a semester. Either a semester or a year, but it was 30K. I remember that number. Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I'm like, shit, I'm gonna have to figure something out. And that I did, because one thing about it if it's meant for you, if you're destined for that, it's gonna happen. God is gonna make sure it happens. So I didn't even really have to worry, but I was worried. I'm not gonna hold you. I was worried because I'm like, where am I gonna get this money from? So boom, I start to like I'm trying to figure out a plan every day. I'm locked in, y'all. My senior year, I was locked in. So I'm saving my money, saving my money, saving my money to even like secure my spot. So they accepted me, but then to secure my spot, I had to put $500 down just to even secure that I'm coming to the school. So boom, drop the deposit, $500. Then I have to figure out where I'm gonna stay. I have to figure out how I'm gonna get out there, the flight, I have to figure out how I'm gonna eat, all types of stuff. Like it was a lot, y'all. It was a lot. So I'm saving, y'all. When I tell you this is the most, this is the most I ever save for real. Like I really don't. I'm not a saver. Like I'm a spender. I'm a young fly bitch. So I'm a spender. But I was saving, y'all. Like I really was looking down bad my senior year because I wasn't getting like I was doing my own hair. At that point, I said, shit, I'm gonna teach myself how to do my hair. So I started doing my own hair. I wasn't getting my nails done, no boy. Like, them pockets this is how my pockets is looking. So I by the end of the summertime, so I graduated college. By the end of the summertime, I had worked a job the whole summer. I worked with kids, saved all that money, and I still don't even have the enough money because I have to put a deposit down for my apartment too. The apartment was like this is my first time ever living by myself. So the apartment it was like 930 a month, but then you have to put a security deposit down, so that's double that. So that like right now we're at like 2k. So I put 2k down, and then I still gotta buy the flight and still all that stuff. So I'm really stressing. Like I don't know where I'm getting this money from, but it was coming. The money was coming to me. So I put the money down for the apartment. Boom, apartment secured. My brother, he pays for my flight. Boom, flight secured. All right. My mom gives me some money. So now I got a little pocket money when I get down there. Okay. Boom. So I get on the flight, say my goodbyes, and I get down to New York. First of all, the even traveling to New York was an obstacle. Like even doing that because I had to do two flights. One flight to like Tennessee and then another flight to New York. I fly to Tennessee, everything's cool. As soon as I get to Tennessee, my flight to New York is canceled. So I'm like, yo, what? Everybody is mad. Like they're going off on the airport people, and I'm just like, well, it's not really their fault. Like they can't control it. So then I tell my uncle who was supposed to pick me up, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna get you a hotel. So he was like, because he was gonna pay for my Uber from the airport, but like my brother booked the plane to Jersey, and then we was gonna drive to Brooklyn. I don't know why that happened, but anyway. So my uncle was like, okay, just put the hotel on your credit card, and then I'll send it to you tomorrow, and then I'll pay for your Uber and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. So I put it on my credit card, I paid for it. Then the next day, I get on the flight and I finally land in Jersey, and then my uncle is like, oh well, since because the Uber from Jersey to Brooklyn was like $90. So he's like, well, like since we paid for the Uber, you just gonna have to pay for the hotel. Like he wasn't gonna give me my bread back. So I was tight because why would you tell me you was gonna do that and then like try to back out? So it's like whatever. Like I literally stopped talking to them after that because I felt like that was really shisty. So I get in the Uber, and we driving because it's like one of those shared Ubers. So I'm in that Uber for like 2 hours at this point because it's just like somebody else is in there. They're going to another side of New York. Like it was too much. So anyway, finally get to Brooklyn. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I get to Brooklyn. I ain't never even been there. So I'm like, don't even know like what to do, right? And then so I booked with this company called Outpost, right? Outpost apartments. I would never in my life book with them again. But you live and you learn. At the time, I was 22 years old. I didn't know no better. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't have a credit score. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know nothing about credit. and I was racking up credit cards in college, so my credit score it wasn't up there basically. And then I didn't have a job because I was gonna find one when I got out there. So with New York, they want you to have three times the rent. They want you to have credit score at 700. Like, I didn't have all that stuff. So when I found Outpost, which is like a community living apartment, basically it's like a co-living apartment. And the way they present themselves online is like their apartments for like people who are doing internships, like short stays, graduate students, college students, things like that. So I was like, okay, this is right up my alley. So I get there, but since I get there so late, the person who was supposed to greet me like wasn't no longer there anymore. So she texted me and she let me know like the key is in the mailbox. And but the mailbox is kind of in the like you had to look for the mailbox. Okay, so I find the mailbox, I find the key, I get in there. When I tell you this is the smallest apartment I've ever lived in, I've ever seen in my entire life. So I as soon as I immediately walk in, like so I walk in the front door and I'm thinking it's gonna be like a lobby, like maybe like a front desk attendant. No, it's literally another door, and that first door is where my apartment is. So it's like you take one step and you're at the door to my apartment. So I'm like, okay. So then I put the code in, go into the apartment. The apartment is actually it's a nice apartment, but it is hella people that live there. Hella people living there, and it's only two bathrooms. So I didn't know that was gonna be a problem from the jump. It's only one refrigerator. Knew that was gonna be a problem from the jump. But hey, I'm here. I'm here. So boom, I get to my room. I'm not gonna hold you. I had to share a room. My first year, I had to share a room because I could only afford the two bedrooms. So I share a room. The first girl I share a room with is cool, but like, I wanted my privacy. So after a year, I moved to another unit. So my first year there, it was hell. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was struggling. I was struggling. I literally was on the phone with my dad one time. I was like, this is the poorest I've ever felt in my entire life. And I've been poor before. Like I've ate noodles and soup out of the can for weeks. But this was low. I was literally eating out of food pantries, y'all. I couldn't even afford food. I had to pick between affording food or affording the metro because everything costs there. It costs to breathe in New York. Like literally, I couldn't even step out my house because I knew I was going to spend some type of money. There's restaurants, there's businesses everywhere. So the first thing I do when I get there, I go to my school, get all my paperwork done with my school. I met a friend on social media that was going to the new school, so she was cool, and I was cool with her. And then the second thing I knew I had to do, I had to get a job. Right now, me, it's easy to get a job. Look at me, I could talk, I could interview me right now. Like it's easy to get a job for me, but in New York, I don't know what was going on. Like it literally took me 2 months 2 months to find a job, and I was struggling, y'all. I was struggling so bad because I had to pay for the metro so much all the time, like going back and forth to school. Then I'm trying to go into the city to find jobs. It was a lot, y'all. And then paying for food, like whoo, child. Like I was struggling, y'all. I was struggling. So 2 months go by, I start getting depressed, y'all, because at this point, I'm like, I'm doing good in school, but I don't have no money. Like I literally don't have money to do anything. Like I can't even enjoy New York because my friends are like, "Oh, did you go see this? Did you go do this?" I'm like, I don't have no money. Like, so 2 months go by. I start getting depressed. I started just being like, okay, I'm gonna have to go home because I don't have no money. I can't because I'm paying for school as well. I'm paying for school like $200 a month, and then I also have to pay for my apartment. So I'm like, I don't have no bread. I can't like I can't afford this. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to make a decision. We're gonna either have to go home or we're gonna have to stay here and figure some shit out. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm just go home. So I had in my mindset, I didn't tell nobody, but I was like really looking like I'm just gonna have to go home for real. So I'm praying though, I'm staying true to myself. And one thing about it, like I told y'all before, if it's destined for you, if God like made this plan for you, nothing is gonna get in the way. You're gonna succeed, all the way through. So 2 months go by. I remember just sitting in my apartment every single day, applying for jobs, just getting so like depressed. But the good thing about like living with a lot of people is like you don't stay depressed for long because there's always people to talk to. So boom, like I'm talking to my roommates and stuff like that. And then I'm praying, y'all. I'm praying hard, y'all, too. And then I was just like, F it. I'm gonna just go home. Like this day I just decided I'm gonna go home. But something just told me like before you go home, just reach out to your school. Just try to see like maybe they'll have some resources. Like maybe they'll have something. So I talked to this one lady. She's like a white lady. She mad cool. And she was just telling me like giving me career advice. So then that's not really telling me nothing because it's like I still need this degree to get my career, right? So then boom, I emailed my school and they put me with like an emergency counselor basically. So the counselor, he's a black man. So I'm like, whoo, thank you Jesus, because when you see your skin, when you see that, you be like, okay, I like they'll understand me a little bit more, right? So this is my last chance, y'all. After this, I said if this don't work, I gotta go home. Boom, go to his office. I lay it all on the line. I tell him I just moved here. I can't afford to eat. I'm eating out of food pantries. I can't afford to pay for school. My rent is due next week. Like, oh, I don't know what to do. I start crying, y'all. I start crying. And this man don't even know me. And I'm crying to him. He said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And he gave me this paperwork. He told me, he said, fill this out tonight and let them know everything you tell me and really drag it. Just like you did now, drag it and let them know you are in need. Boom. I tell them I'm in need. I like all this stuff. Da 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 da. It's a grant. It's a grant application, emergency grant application. They give me the grant, y'all. They give me the grant for 1,500. 1,500. That same week, I got 2 jobs. I got an interview for 2 jobs. I got both the jobs. I said, Lord, this is how I knew. I said, I knew I was supposed to be here. I knew it. I knew it. So from then on, I never like doubted like my reason for being there. I knew I was supposed to be in New York. So boom, pay the rent. The rent is cool. I get 2 jobs. I'm getting paid on a weekly basis. So now I got the rent money plus a little side money. So now I can actually enjoy New York. I could get some food when I'm outside. I could afford the train. I ain't gotta hop the train no more. So I'm actually like enjoying living in New York. So now I'm starting to do content. I'm starting to meet people. Like I'm starting to I remember I bought my first pair of shoes. I bought my first pair of shoes, y'all. I bought my first jacket there. It was because it was about to be winter time, so it was cold. I was wearing like a little fleece like this. This was not going to survive the winter. I had to get a coat. So I get my first coat. And I'm living. I'm feeling so good about myself. I'm thriving in school. I'm like, boom. It's going good. Now, mind you, when COVID hit, that's when I did start struggling because one of my jobs closed because they couldn't stay open during the cold. Like they was about to close anyway. So now I'm down to one job. Then the other job is affected by COVID real bad. So they barely giving me any hours. And so now I'm like, I'm kind of struggling. But then my classes went online. So then I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to just go home because everything, like when COVID hit New York, it was like a ghost town. Everything was closed. And the school year is about to be over anyway. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to just go home. It was cool. So I went home for like the summertime. And then during that time, we was getting unemployment. I was getting money from the school, like all types of stuff. So I had like 6 racks when I came back to New York for my second year of grad school. Came back to New York with 6 racks, right? Rent is paid. I'm chilling. I'm getting my hair done. I'm getting my nails done. I'm looking good. I'm meeting niggas. Like I'm starting to like really grow a community of friends too. Like I'm starting to really like start to like New York. But it's crazy because even when you have money, you still can feel depressed. Like I still was very lonely in New York because even though like I have all these people around me, it's kind of like they don't know me. Like these are not like my family. These are not like my close friends. And then I'm also like having like an identity crisis with New York because I'm running into so many like malicious type of like evil people in New York. Cause like I'm not gonna lie, motherfuckers in New York, they are crazy. Like they're not nice people. So I'm running into this identity crisis because I'm a nice person. So I'm expecting people to be nice too. And when they're not nice to me, I'm confused. And then when I'm nice to them, they're confused because they think I'm trying to set them up, and I'm not trying to set them up. Like it's weird. So boom, I get a job. I get a job at Staples. I'm working Staples. Hate that motherfucker. Like I hate that job. Like when I tell you, so when I first started working in Staples, it was cool. It was a vibe. Actually, at that time I started dating this guy too. So I was living. He introduced me to his friends. So I had me a little friend group. I had me a job. Hair and nails is done. I'm living. I'm doing good in New York, right? School is going good, like no problems. But then me and that dude, we started falling out. The friends, we started falling out. The job, it was like this job was like they talk to you any type of way, and they knew they could talk to you any type of way because motherfuckers needed a job. They needed, if you don't have a job in New York, you're homeless. Like literally, if you they don't care. Like people don't care about you not working or you getting fired. Like they want the rent. They don't care. The only time that I could get away with not paying the rent or paying it late was during COVID time, because COVID time they had put a moratorium on evictions, so they couldn't evict anybody during that time. So I was actually low key cool with that. Like I was like shit. But the only time I wasn't cool with that, during that time, my roommate was like obsessed with me, like literally obsessed. So and I couldn't get him out because they couldn't evict him. Like so that was a lot of shit. That was a lot of shit I was going through. But financially, I was straight. I was straight financially. I was going on trips too. I was straight financially until I quit that motherfucker. I quit that job because one day they just had me so fucked up, y'all. They had me so fucked up. And I was just like, no. So I quit that job, and then I stopped talking to the guy, and we was like on and off or whatever. I would stop fucking with the friends. And so it was kind of a struggle. It was a struggle meeting like real genuine friends, But during my second year, I really got to experience New York. Like I got to do all the touristy stuff that I couldn't do my first year because I was working two fucking jobs, y'all. When I tell y'all, when I tell y'all, I was working so fucking much, bro. I was working one job. I was working on this cookie shop. I was working there from like 7 to 3. Then no, or like it would be like 7 to 3, or it'd be like 10 to 4, things like that. Then I would have to run. I'm talking about run down the street to my second job, really scarfing my lunch, scarfing it up while I'm running down the street. And I would go clock in. I worked at Forever 21 from like 4 to close, 5 to close. Now closing, it wasn't closing. So we closed the store at like 10 or 11 o'clock. We did not get out that motherfucker till 2, 3 in the morning, because that's how many closed. That's like in New York, the stores are huge. Like they literally have floors on floors on floors of stores. So it's so many closed that you have to go through. Y'all, we didn't get out that motherfucker till 2, 3 in the morning. Then I had to get on the train. The train runs late. The train runs really slow when it's late. So you could be waiting 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour on the train. Then you got to get on the train to go home, and that's another hour. Y'all, like I didn't get home. Oh my gosh, I used to be working so much. Like, sheesh. One time I forgot my lunch, y'all. One time I forgot my lunch. I survived off one cookie. When I tell you, I only ate that one cookie when I got out of work. I started walking sideways, y'all. Like my vision started getting blurry. I was walking sideways. I was like, oh, I need to get me some food now. I need to get me some food now. So I just said fucking bought some like food on the street. But people were still outside. I'm getting off work at midnight. I'm seeing kids outside. So one thing about New York, I would say the nightlife, the people are always awake. They're always awake. They're always up. It's always a party. It's always a function. It's so tuck your chain. I'm a killer, girl. I'm sorry, but I can change when aiming for your shots hit your brain. It's always something. It could be a Tuesday. Motherfuckers used to be getting on boats at 7 a.m. and partying. Like it's always something to do in New York. You just have to know people. That's the only thing. If you don't know people, it can feel lonely. which I did feel like that my first year and a half. But after once I get to my second year, I started becoming that girl. Motherfuckers started knowing who I was. So yeah, I was outside. I was at every function. They knew my body. So yeah, I was cool. I felt like I was like, I'm TMZ in this motherfucker. Like I was a celebrity. Like it was cool though. And the way like the niggas, I'm not gonna lie, the niggas be on your body. Like I really like when I was in Missouri, like I really didn't get that like that much attention like that. Like I got attention because I'm a bad bitch, so I got attention. But like when I got to New York, I really, really got attention. Like niggas was on my dick. Like it was crazy. It was really crazy the way niggas like was sweating me bad. Like and but it got to the point where some niggas, like I said, my roommate was obsessed. Like it was weird. Like the niggas in New York is kind of weird to me. But by the time I hit my third year, that's when I was finishing up with grad school. I graduated in 2022. I ended up staying all the way to the summer. Like I graduated in May, and then I stayed that summer. That summer was lit. I was outside. So I was outside that summer, and then after that, I kind of just got over New York, and it wasn't like me getting over the state. It was really me getting over the people I was around. Because with me being outside so much, I met a lot of party friends, and to me, I don't really value party friends. Party friends are just there for the party. They're not there for you as a person. So I didn't really meet a lot of genuine friends, there in New York. I met a lot of people that will, get drunk with you, like dance with you, smoke with you, type shit. But when you really down and out, when you really need someone to talk to, when you just need somebody, they're not there. So and then the guy I was dealing with too, it's like I just kept seeing him everywhere. So I was just like over it. Like I was over the shit with him. And so I said, fuck it, I want to move to LA. And like as you can see, I'm a very spontaneous person. So I moved to LA and I stayed there for a little bit too, and then I moved back home. So yeah, that was really how I survived New York, just really on God, like really on God, because it was a lot of times when I didn't know how I was gonna pay the rent. Like I said, I go from job to job. When a job got me fucked up, I move. And there was times I didn't know how I was gonna pay the rent. When I quit Staples, I started trying to get unemployment. Well, I was already getting unemployment because if you work less than 30 hours at that time, you could still get unemployment. So I was already getting unemployment. But when I quit Staples, it fucked up my unemployment. So then I couldn't get it no more. So then I had to figure out how to get this money. But me, I'm a get money. I'm getting money girly. So, I figured it out. I got another grant from my school. Sold some clothes, just figured out a way to get this bread basically. And then basically my unemployment, they stopped coming to me. But then like literally like a year later, and this is when I was kind of down bad too. I was like struggling because my apartment wasn't letting me renew the lease. I had to move out, so I had to put another deposit on another apartment somewhere. I had to figure out something basically. Why I wake up one day, y'all? Wake up one day and it's payday, right? So it's payday. So usually, at this time, I was working at Chick-fil-A, and I was working at a restaurant. I was a hostess. Y'all know I'm a two-job girly. Like I'm get money for real. So usually I get about $600 from Chick-fil-A. Then I usually get about 200 from the restaurant. So I'm looking at my bank account, putting in a little login code and shit or whatever, and that should say 4K in my bank account. So I'm looking at that motherfucker like, whew, maybe I'm sleep. It's 6 a.m. Maybe I'm sleep. Maybe I'm looking at it crazy. I'm rubbing my eyes. I exit out the app because clearly that's not my bank account. Like clearly they made a mistake. So I log in again, y'all, and that should still say 4K. 4K with the 600 that I get from my Chick-fil-A job. So I'm like, nah, like, nah, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. Log out again, log back in. That should still stay $4,000 in my motherfucking account. So I'm looking like, what the fuck? Why do I have 4K in my bank account? Like, what did I do? So I'm going through and I'm looking at the transactions. It was all my unemployment from last year when they stopped giving it to me. And that's how I just knew. I just knew this was destined for me. Like, the Lord, He always gonna look out for y'all. Like, he always gonna make sure you straight at the end of the day. So I was able to get my degree. I was able to, live in New York and experience New York. I worked with BET while I was in New York. Like, I met so many cool people. I got so much content, photo shoots. I really like developed my fashion style. Like, I really like became who I am as a person. Like, who y'all see me today is because I got to experience New York. So I would definitely say I don't regret it. I would definitely say it was hard though. I had a lot of dark times when I was in New York. I had a lot of lonely times. Sometimes I had to spend Christmas alone. Sometimes I could barely eat, like I'm meal prepping and that's all I could eat for the week. Sometimes it was tough. It was tough, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you want to move to New York, it's gonna be tough, but it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be an experience. I would never ever live with Outpost again. That was like the worst. Oh my gosh, the worst apartment. I wouldn't even recommend. Like, I used to recommend that company to people when I first started living there because they don't do credit checks. At first they didn't do credit checks for me, but they changed the management and now they do them. And I don't know. They be doing a lot of scammy type of stuff, and they be having all types of like hidden fees and shit. But I be telling them motherfuckers, I'm not paying it. I'm not paying it. I know it was people in. I could do a whole other story on Outpost. It was people in Outpost that was not paying their rent. It was people in there that was like criminals. Like, it was a mess. It was crazy people, literally crazy. Motherfuckers was psycho in the head. Like, they didn't do no background checks, no background checks. Like, but yeah, so yeah, that was definitely an experience living in New York. But that's God. I would just say God is how I survived living in New York, and my family. I had a cool support system. But God, me staying true to myself, me staying strong, me standing on business, fuck you talking about. But yeah, that's really how I survived New York. So if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Ciara.Celeste, follow me on Twitter, Ciara Celeste too, if you already know the vibes. Period.
Bust it open, bend over, put my back in it. Heat addicted like it got a little crack in it. Suck it like a crab leg, I'm cracking it. Take it out, catch your breath, get back in it. Pink.